Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 77 of Battle of the Beasts All Generation. We're at the final battle of round 1, and now, time to introduce the final beasts fighting it out for that last spot in round 2. But first, I'm going to introduce you guys the beast that made it through to round 2 without having to fight in round 1. This one is, I would say, an alright beast to make it through to round 2. I'm not too fussed about this beast, really. But, it's alright. So, the beast that's made it through to round 2 without fighting, representing the infinite group of specials, is Tempera the Time Stealer. Like I said, I'm indifferent to that. But now, introducing the beasts, fighting out for that last spot. If you've been paying attention to this series, you know exactly which two are fighting. And with that, let's introduce them. So, representing Series 13, the Warrior's Road, the last beast remaining of that series to fight. It is book number 6, Koba, Ghoul of the Shadows. And his opponent, representing Series 24, Blood of the Beasts, book number 4, Krokol, the Father of Fear. So, this fight is also a Lucas and I picked fight, and we both agreed that as Koba and Krokol are so similar as a beast, we have to do a matchup for them. And it's probably the battle for round 1. We both kind of agree, I believe, that this is one of the best fights that could happen in round 1. So we are using that as the last one. I'm nervous for this fight because I need to do this fight justice, because I probably will never get a chance to do a fight like this again. So, I'll breathe in, prepare myself. It's not making it any better. Okay. Right. The battlefield will be... yeah, I was just checking something. Right. Unfortunately, Koba can't change the background, so oops. I made that mistake in the old generation tournament, but it was fine. No, the old generation tournament was still great. Good. Just good. But the battlefield, I'm going to say, is a ruins. So, ruined castle, let's say. Because they both have kingdom destroying powers. I would argue they're both non-stop fighters. Koba more cunning as well. But yeah, so we got Ruined Castle for the final fight in round 1. Let's get to the stats. Koba's abilities include shapeshifting. Koba can shapeshift into any creature he or his foes have seen. He can also shapeshift into beings that never existed out of his own creation. It is unknown if he could transform into beasts, however, it is likely. Memory reading and ability. Replication. Koba retains the memories and abilities of the creature he turns into. Natural weaponry. Koba's sharp fingernails. Limited levitation. Koba's limited levitation due to his legs being replaced by a small tornado. Master Deceiver. Koba is a master deceiver, using this skill to dissuade any challenger he comes across. Fear and doubt empowerment. Koba grows stronger through people's fears and doubts. Control of the marble castle. Koba can control the mechanisms in the marble castle mentally. Corruption. Koba has the ability to corrupt other people. Resurrection. Koba is revived whenever someone walks the warrior's road, making it theoretically impossible to kill him for good. However, that ability is banned. Equipment. Koba wields the standard equipment of any creature he shapeshifts into. It is possible for him to keep this weaponry if he reverts back to his true form. Not bad. Weaknesses: wound retainment. Any wound he obtains transformed, he keeps if he reverts back to his true form. Finger removal. Koba can have his fingers cut off. Okay, yeah. Moving on to Krokol. Powers and abilities. We're going to go with his true form here. A slime manipulation. Krokol's true form can fire back slime from his hands, which can wrap itself around foes, trapping them. Possible flight. Krokol's true form possesses wings, but if he uses them for flight is unknown. I'll probably use it for flight because that way it gives a more aerial advantage to Krokol. We're also going to add enhanced strength and enhanced durability as well. Equipment. No, can't have that. Wait. No, we're not going to allow him to have the golden armor. Weaknesses is Tanner's blade. So technically he doesn't have a weakness. So yeah. Okay. Well. I'm nervous for this fight. I need to make sure I do it well. So with that, Koba versus Krokol. Let's get into this. So, as the chamber doors open, Krokol bursts through the sky exit, roaring into the chamber, and glides down to the center, roaring in, I guess, to try and rile up the crowd, make them excited for this. As Krokol is technically Tom, we're going to say Tom, he has the memories of all the beasts prior to this. Meanwhile, on the other side of the arena, a tornado of fog appears from all exits, just causing orange smoke to wisp up, and Koba's silhouette is shown. But then it just changes, and then what is coming out? It seems to change into a rather serpent-like creature, one that is making a sharp hissing sound, and as the amber eyes are shown, out comes the green scales. Krokol recognizes this beast, hasn't fought it before though, and as the true size is shown, the fans are amazed and in absolute awe in what they are seeing. They haven't seen this beast for a while. I haven't narrated this beast for a while. But out comes Torpix, the twisting serpent. Krokol roars in aggression. Torpix only hisses and, using his tail, whips towards Krokol. Krokol is able to jump out of the way, and Torpix spits acid towards Krokol. Krokol uses his slime as a makeshift shield to protect himself from that, but the acid is starting to dissolve through the slime. Krokol drops the slime and dives out of the way. Torpix, who is actually Krokol, is laughing with the amusement of watching him suffer. Krokol takes the sky to meet eye level with Torpix. However, the orange fog emits from Torpix and then wraps around Torpix, and the form seems to shrink, comes off the ground, wings sprout, start flapping, and gives a recognizing roar, which Krokol realizes from watching the fights of other tournaments. He knows what he's about to see, and before the fog even disappears, he's greeted right to his face by a headbutt and a slice from Wardock, the Sky Terror. Krokol is caught completely off guard, refusing to back down. No, he goes to tackle at Koba, but technically Wardock, slashing. They're both slashing. Wardock is biting at him, using his tail to stab, slash, and trap him, constrict him. You name it, that's what Wardock's trying to do. Krokol has enough, and using his arms, he pushes his grip away and falls down to the ground, landing safely. Wardock roars in aggression and goes to dive back down, ready to attack, like diving, like tucking his wings, diving towards Krokol. Krokol prepares to take it and goes to grab Wardock, and he does. However, Wardock bites, clamps his head over Krokol and keeps pulling. Krokol is trying to pull himself out and pry Wardock's jaws open, which he eventually does. He chucks Wardock aside and gets to safety. Right before he turns round, though, he sees the familiar orange mist. Krokol is exhausted just by dealing with the likes of two former victors. What can be next? And as Krokol's staring into the mist, he sees a rather large silhouette appear, in which he is prepared to take it on, but he's starting to feel doubts about himself. Koba gives his signature laugh, saying to Krokol, "The more fear you show, the powerful I become. The more powerful I become." He conjures up a fireball in his hand and chucks it towards Krokol. Krokol dives out of the way, and the fireball hits the arena and splashes into multiple flames. Krokol looks up at the fog, and out comes a almost weird combination of a beast, a chimera, let's say. Krokol, Krokol's eyes widen in fear, looking at the monster that is in front of him. It's not Wardock, it's not Torpix, it is Vraksha, the mirror demon. But Krokol doesn't know what to do. He seems powerless. He's been expected to go against not one, but all three former winners of the tournament. Koba Koba is laughing in absolute power, knowing that Krokol is feeling the fear here. He charges up towards Krokol. Krokol charges up because he knows he has to fight, and they just go to tackle each other. Raksha, using his elbow, hits Krokol right in the gut and uppercuts Krokol, knocking him backwards. Raksha gets on top of Krokol and, pinning his arms down, keeps headbutting Krokol repeatedly, and then slashes at Krokol's neck. Krokol gasps in pain and slashes at Raksha's neck as well. Koba, as Raksha, takes a step back, reverts back to his normal form. Koba grabbing onto his wound in his neck, seeing the blood drip. Koba stares at him angrily. Krokol, realizing that it is possible to beat him, gets back up and starts charging towards Krokol. Koba jumps out of the way, and using his fog, he shrouds himself up again. This time, he gives a almost dragon-like roar. A flame seems to be shown in the center. I'm not stopping this. A flame seems to be shown in the center of the orange fog. And Krokol himself recognizes that flame. He also recognizes the silhouette. Koba gives a laugh, knowing that he's revealed himself to be the fear that Krokol has. No, it shows himself to be the beast that defeated Krokol in the last tournament. Out of the shadows shows Stritor, the skeleton dragon. Krokol, not really knowing what to do, shoots the slime towards Stritor. Stritor merely takes it, doesn't act much to it, and goes to charge up towards Krokol, slashing, using his tail to. He used his tail to constrict his arms and legs so he can't move. And then Stritor reels his head up and breathes fire directly on Krokol, burning away his flesh and singeing the armor to high heaven. He then releases Krokol, and then using his claws, he stabs Krokol right in the chest, drags the claws down Krokol's chest, rips the chest open, and Stritor reverts back to Koba, grabs onto Krokol's heart, and squeezes it into just a pulp right in front of Krokol's emotionless eyes as Krokol stares up in shock and horror of what has happened. That scared me. So, with that, Koba's won, Krokol was lost. If you think Krokol should have won, please in the comments below where you think that. How my word is final, and Koba's moving on to the next round. I gave Koba the victory because he could shapeshift, and I thought, yeah, if Krokol doesn't really know about this ability much, so I'll use that to surprise Krokol. and catch him off guard, which it did. And then, when he thought he had the upper hand, Koba decided to pull out the big guns, instead going into the beast which killed him in the first place. And that was enough to cause more doubts to appear from Krokol, because he's obviously familiar with the winners. He knows which beast killed him, and with that, Krokol gave enough doubt, which gave Koba the advantage that he needed. And with that, that's how Koba won. I hope I did this fight justice. This fight I've been looking forward to for ages. And until then, that's all for this time. Join me in round 2, which will be coming up very shortly after the summary of round 1 video, which I will be doing soon. And until then, peace out.